This is probably one of the craziest stories of 2024 so far. And if you're not familiar with this, buckle up because this is out of Lake County, Florida. And these sheriff's officers were ambushed by this insane family. Every detail that goes by in this story is more crazy than the next. So let's go to the press conference where Sheriff Peyton Grinnell was talking about exactly what happened here. Are you guys familiar with this at all? Do you guys know about this story?
I just know there was an ambush. I didn't hear any of the specific details on the story. This is the first I've really had any sort of dive in.
I'm going to go with same, but I've heard nothing.
Okay, all right, well, here we go. Here's what happened according to the sheriff.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call at 1945 hours on August the 2nd, requesting law enforcement to respond to 38226 Brookside Drive, Eustis, in reference to a female in his yard assaulting people that were present and trespassing on the caller's property. This turned physical as the trespasser, later identified as Julie Sulpizio, began striking the complainant's wife, his father, and others.
So she's like hitting everybody in this neighborhood. She's just like attacking all of the people that she can attack to try to lure them in to what's happening down the street, which is way worse than that.
The complainant stated she was acting religious, accusing them of being sinners, and she knows what they did. They identified Julie Sulpizio as their neighbor, but Julie states that she is Helen under God's will. At 1958 hours, Corporal Owens arrived on scene. Julie Sulpizio approaches Corporal Owens with her hands concealed behind her back.
Not a good start.
She was given a command not to approach and to back up by Corporal Owens. As she walked into his outstretched hand, this prompted Corporal Owens to unholster his taser, briefly pointing it at her until she took a few steps back. Two of the victims that were present with Corporal Owens and with the complainant in close proximity. During a calm verbal exchange, Julie Sulpizio states that they, meaning the group of people that were present there, were involved in pedophilia. She again claims to be Helen, and she asked one of the victims that she had battered, "Who is your God?"
So you could tell these people are hyped up, crazy religious. Yeah. They're losing it here. And this was like a breaking point. And they all decided we're going out in a blaze of glory. But the cops don't know that yet. The cops just see crazy lady on the streets. She's fighting with her neighbors here. They don't know that this is even bigger than they ever could have imagined. And it led to the death of one officer and two others that were very seriously injured in this. Let's continue with the details.
Julie Sulpizio stated to them that Julie is in heaven. She then went on to state, you see, the thing is, we needed to trick Lucy. And we later learned to be a name she calls Lucifer.
All right.
Wow. She then points at Corporal Owens and states, you were one of them. She continues by stating, see, we needed to trick the evil to come out. One of the victims explains that Julie Sulpizio wanted them to walk in front of her to her house.
You see?
But they didn't trust her.
There's the trap.
The victim asked her, is Michael okay? And Julie stated, oh, see, he sent me down here. The victim states, oh, did he? And Julie says, yes, my husband, my God. Julie Sulpizio again attempts to convince them to go to the house to see. She states, yes, Michael, I am coming, and begins to walk towards Corporal Owens.
All right, now they're going to try to head towards the house to see what the hell is happening back there. Unbeknownst to them, the two daughters or stepdaughters, depending what story you look at, they're in the house and they're both armed with weapons. The father is also in the house and armed with a weapon. It's crazy. Like the way this whole thing played out. And when the officers get to the house, it only gets more wild from here.
Which puts out his hand to block her, to which Julie pushes Corporal Owens' hand away. Corporal Owens steps rearward, raises his taser, and gives her a warning. And the taser emits a piercing, audible tone and a flashing light.
So he's kind of threatening.
As he points it at Julie. And she stated to Corporal Owens, "That's God's light," and approached him with her arms crossed on her chest, smiling. Corporal Owens redirects her rearward, causing her to fall to the ground on her back, tells her to stay down, at which she resists. He ultimately holsters his taser and produces his handcuffs, applying control to Julie's right wrist.
All right, they got her.
As Julie Cepizio states, she stated, "You want to play? You are just making me madder." Julie on her back states, "Let's do this now," followed by, "I can feel him," and yells out, "Michael, Gabriel, Timothy, it's time now to protect my
What the
children."
hell?
Isn't it crazy how
Yes.
warped the human mind can get? Like,
And you
these
got
people,
a family of all of the warped minds. Like
Yes,
everyone's on the same page.
100% on the same page on this, Sabrina. Like, when you hear the stuff that was
Oh,
happening
it's
in the
so
house,
sad, man.
it's like there wasn't anybody who seemed to be like, "Guys, hold on, should we be doing this?" This is almost like a David Koresh level of fanaticism that was happening. And I guess because, they don't have a TV, they didn't have any kind of access to the outside world, they maybe didn't know just how crazy things were getting inside this house that led up to this moment.
As another deputy arrives, the responding deputy handcuffs Julie. At 2010 hours, Sergeant Stevens and Corporal Owens arrive at Julie Cepizio's residence, which is walking distance from the original incident location, to conduct a well-being check on Michael and Julie Cepizio's children.
All right, they're headed to the house.
Announcements are made at the door, and contact was attempted to no avail. Sergeant Stevens observed 3 individuals inside run, and that one looked at him as they passed the shut door. Corporal Owens also finds 2 small dogs deceased in the front yard.
They killed the dogs.
A loud banging, approximately 4, was heard but could not be identified or located. Corporal Owens identifies an open window on the east side of the residence with the screen kicked out, raising his suspicion about the well-being of Michael and other occupants inside. Corporal Owens asked for additional units to respond while he and Sergeant Stevens hold the perimeter. They believe that this incident may have involved a burglary or a home invasion of some kind.
All right, so at this point in the story, they think that they're there to rescue these people in this house. They're running around inside. They seem like they're in distress. Something has happened to these people. Little do they know, that is absolutely not what would happen next. There's so much to unwrap here, but one thing that's pretty crazy is I just got an email, and I guess the people who live directly across the street from this family, they're fans of the show. The people who live right across the street from this are fans of the show. And I don't know
Thank
what
you
they
for
knew.
listening.
I mean, I'd like to talk to them if they're out there and they want to share more about what this was like. So let's go back to this press conference here.
As additional deputies arrive, they are briefed on the details. Deputies positioned marked Lake County Sheriff's Office vehicles in view of the residents and activated their blue warning lights. Master Deputy Link begins making multiple announcements over his PA, identifying themselves and calling out to the residents. Deputies, along with supervisors, attempted to formulate a plan to make contact with whoever was inside, which had not been identified at that time. Corporal Owens interviews the neighbors, which stated that they observed Julie Cepizio and Michael Cepizio exit that white truck and go inside around 1830 hours. Corporal Owens gets Julie Cepizio's phone number from neighbors, and the deputy attempts to call her mobile number. Julie's phone was not on her at the time of the original incident that I described, and it was believed to be inside the residence, possibly with Michael.
All right.
An attempt was made to call the phone, which went straight to voicemail. The neighbors stated that Michael said, "The next time I see you, I'm going to shoot you."
Oh, great.
While speaking to the neighbor's children, and this was a few days prior.
What a nightmare. What a nightmare living in this neighborhood must have been with this family.
Yeah.
The guy is saying like he's going to kill the kids, and he's saying all sorts of horrific things, and then
And
they're
like,
actually
what
acting
led
it
up to that? Like, have they always been the weird family for years now?
For at
Or
least
was there
some period
one
of time.
Snap.
No, for at least some period of time, because there's lots of people on this street with stories just like you heard. There was lots of people who, in the reports I read.
This is the opposite of the token story where you find some neighbor and they go, "Oh, they just were really quiet and kept to themselves and never saw something like this coming."
Yeah, in fact, they mentioned that in one of the stories I read, C-Lane. It's like, generally speaking, the neighbors never saw it coming or couldn't have imagined that this would happen. But in this case, none of the neighbors were surprised in the slightest.
At 21:03 hours, Master Deputy Link, along with Master Deputy Howe, Sergeant Stevens, and Master Deputy Kessinger, attempt to enter the residence while making announcements. They enter through the rear door of the residence, which is closest to the driveway and appears to be used for ingress and egress.
Leaving and coming.
As they opened the door, it entered into a small laundry room, which led to an intersecting hallway that led left and right.
He's getting emotional here.
Master Deputy Link, as he approached the threshold of the hallway, advised he was going left, indicating to Master Deputy Howe he should go right. As Master Deputy Link crossed the threshold into the hallway, his body-worn camera captures several frames of what appears to be a male in black sleeve shirt or body armor, positioned with a rifle on the arm of a couch, waiting to ambush deputies.
Jesus, man.
Master Deputy Link does not see this,
Oh, my God.
as he is focused on moving left and the camera's pointing straight. But as he's focused on moving left, as he indicated, and he enters the hallway with his back to the suspect, believed to be Michael Sulpizio. Multiple gunshots were fired, likely rifle rounds, from the area that the suspect occupied, striking Master Deputy Link in the back,
So one is shot
causing
now.
him to turn and fall. Master Deputy Link is struck multiple times and attempts to suppress the threat with gunfire. During this event, Master Deputy Howe is also struck in the wrist from a projectile that came from the area of where Michael Sulpizio was positioned. Master Deputy Howe, Sergeant Stevens, and Master Deputy Kessinger were forced to retreat out of the residence. Master Deputy Link was immobilized, suffering multiple gunshot wounds, and he attempts to crawl on his back to cover.
So he's hit pretty bad at this point, this officer who ended up dying. And he gets kind of trapped into the house. The other officers have retreated a little bit. And now they get to like the final stretch of details here. As we'll wrap all this up and see what everybody thinks. Because just an insane story. Lots of different things intertwining here. Religion and many other things all like crashing head to head. Clearly mental illness, lots of stuff.
But was unsuccessful. Master Deputy Link had exhausted all rounds in his duty weapon. In hearing his ID being called over the radio, moves his hands in what appears to be an attempt to respond to the radio, but was unsuccessful. Master Deputy Link was shot at several more times, and it appeared that he was struck by additional rounds.
It just hit him down.
Someone within the residence began shooting at deputies outside, which moved to cover and in turn returned fire. Master Deputy Howe was extracted from the scene and transported to the hospital. Additional resources were requested, as well as additional deputies. While waiting for additional law enforcement, deputies and supervisors on scene attempted to negotiate with the suspects to release Master Deputy Link, but the suspects refused. Master Deputy Link's body-worn camera continuously recorded audio and video from within the residence facing up towards the ceiling.
That must
What
be
a nightmare,
horrific.
man.
Yeah.
At 21:24 hours, a female yells from within the residence as she racks a firearm and states, "My king will kill all of you. You are Lucifer's children."
The daughter.
Yeah, that's one of the daughters.
This was in response to deputies yelling for Master Deputy Link to crawl to them.
So what happened here after this is they eventually go back in. After some more gunfire is exchanged, they find the three people dead, self-inflicted gunshot wounds, all three of them, the father and the two daughters. And
How old were these daughters? Did they say?
20s, early 20s.
Yeah, 23 and something like that, 23, 24.
Yeah, very early 20s, most of them, or both of them, I believe.
23 and 22.
Judging by what they're saying and how they were acting in the moment, they were just as wrapped up in this. It's not like you just
absolutely.
blame the parents and it's like these young girls into it. It seems like they were in it. They were deeply in this like cult of a family.
And you see all the stuff that they found?
Yeah,
after?
they found a lot of weapons. If you have the
What
list
was it?
there,
Gosh, I just had it too. They found self-inflicted. Okay, so they found over 20 firearms, stockpiled ammunition, gas mask, body armor, ghillie suits, medical bags, MREs, bottled water, alongside anti-government propaganda and conspiracy theory-related media.
yeah, and they said they were ready for something like this. They were planning on doing something like this, and for some reason, on this random Friday night in the middle of the night, they decided it's time, and the whole damn family gets wrapped up in this. Nicole on YouTube says the girls were brainwashed. Yeah, I mean, you could probably say that. I have to know more about what happened in that house, but I don't think it excuses any behavior. These people are all mad.